All eyes on those hearings. Yes, January 6th committee hearings. They are kicking into high gear. The focus we're going to see this time around is former President Trump's numerous attempts to pressure state officials to overturn the 2020 election. So let's bring in our good friend. There he is, ABC Chief Washington Correspondent Jonathan Karl. All right, my man. What are they trying to get at here? What evidence are they trying to show of a scheme? What's the point of the direction, I guess, the hearings are about to take?
Well, today's hearing is going to focus on a critical component of Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the election. So remember, TJ, this committee is not just about the attack on the Capitol. It's about what the attack on the Capitol was the culminating moment of, and that was an effort to overturn the election. And this will focus on the incredible pressure campaign that Donald Trump himself and his top allies waged on state leaders to try to get them to overturn the results in each individual state. So you remember, TJ, the phone call that Trump made. It was on January 2nd, 4 days before the 6th, when he called Brad Raffensperger, the Republican Secretary of State, and said, go out and find me 11,780 votes, which just so happened to be the number of votes that he would need to win the state of Georgia. So we'll hear from Raffensperger today. There's a lot more to that story than that phone call.
What do you get that the public right now is thinking about what they have seen so far with the hearings? The first one, of course, was a big show, a primetime show. But do we have any evidence of if this is working to sway public opinion one way or another about what they thought about what they saw on January 6th?
It's too early to tell. And, you know, we had a poll the other day, ABC News poll that showed that only a small percentage of the public is watching these hearings carefully. But remember, it's not just about who is sitting down, you know, and sitting down for a couple of hours and watching an entire hearing. It's about what the hearings uncover and the way that kind of establishes our understanding of what happened on January 6th and the events leading up to it. So I think it's simply way too early to tell. But these hearings, TJ, make no mistake, are of historic importance. I would put these up there with the Army McCarthy hearings, with the Watergate hearings. They are establishing through a really intensive process of investigation, interviews, live testimony, what took place on January 6th. And, you know, whether it's moving the needle on public opinion right now, I can't tell you. Nobody can honestly tell you yet.
Jonathan, I'll get back to Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, who was all over the headlines, certainly when it talked about the pressure he was under. We seem to know, or we think we know so much about that story. What are you hearing about how much more detail, or just getting that first-person account, is going to be different or something new from what we at least know so far about the pressure he was under?
Well, what we're learning, first of all, is it was certainly not limited to Georgia. You're also going to hear from Rusty Bowers, who is the Republican. Again, these guys, almost everybody that's testifying is a Republican. Was a Republican Speaker of the House in Arizona. He was under similar pressure to what faced Raffensperger. But what you're going to hear today is when the president made that call, when his people went out and publicly said that Raffensperger is the one that can switch this, there was a pressure campaign on him and on the others who worked on the election. You're going to hear from another individual who is not a household name, who was one of the election workers, who was named by Trump in some of his comments. And she faced death threats. She faced a campaign of intimidation. She had to go into hiding. So you're going to hear that this was real. This wasn't just a phone call. This was an effort to really muscle people into doing something that, frankly, would have been not only unethical, undemocratic, but illegal.
Because we're hearing different things from some of the committee members and members of Congress about whether or not this ultimately, the point is to get to charges of some kind or something against the former President Trump. At the end of the day, where are we hoping to end up?
I think there are two different things here. One, in terms of criminal charges, a congressional committee has nothing to do with that. I mean, there's been this question, would they refer criminal charges? They're not a grand jury. That's up to the Justice Department. What this is about establishing the truth and educating the public on what the truth was. Because what you're seeing, TJ, just, you know, a year and a half after January 6th, you're seeing a revisionist history. You're seeing people suggesting, first of all, that it wasn't that violent, that it was really, you know, just kind of a rowdy tourist visit. That's one thing you're seeing. And you're also to establish the truth of what caused all that, which was this nonsense, disproven, unfounded lies about the election itself, that the election was stolen, that the election, that Donald Trump was the true victor. It is absolutely not true. The specific allegations this committee is going through and looking at and disproving, and the ways in which those were spread. So this is about establishing the truth, because right now, the issue here isn't just that a bunch of people broke into the Capitol and were extremely violent in the process. It's that they tried to undermine our democracy, and now that effort is continuing by trying to undermine the very notion of truth. So this committee is trying to say, wait a minute, here is the truth.
Truth still matters. Jonathan Karl, it is always good to have you here. Come back and visit more often, man. We love having you.
Yeah, definitely. Invite me up to the studio there, TJ. I want to,
Bring some of those Emmys. We want to be inspired.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right, Jonathan Karl. Always good to see you, my man. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.